Hey friends, Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, and as they always tell us, don't quit your day job, so we're headed to our day job. Seems I set off a bit of a firestorm yesterday with my Tony Romo shouldn't get his job back over Dak Prescott, and I feel the need to respond to that. You know, it's not that I am not a Tony Romo fan. I have been there with Tony Romo when everybody kept calling him Tony Ono. The Dallas Cowboys can't win with him, you know, and everybody, and I'm sure half of you that are now supporting him were ones that were saying that we needed to get him out of here until you found out last year how bad we were without him. So don't say that I don't care about Tony Romo. In fact, I worry about him more after football because of the shots and the punishment his body has taken. You know, I want him to get that Super Bowl ring, but I also want him to have a good life after football. Now, with that being said, the point of my video is if we go purely by the numbers of what transpired between Tony Romo last year when he played versus what Dak has done this year, then by the numbers, Dak Prescott should be starter. Okay? Now, a lot of you will say, oh, well, you know, Dak Prescott hasn't played anybody. Well, in the 4 games that Tony Romo played in last year, he played against the Giants, under 500, the Eagles, under 500, the Miami Dolphins, under 500, and Carolina Panthers. And in that time, he was 5-7 with a 78 point something QBR. Okay, and then some of you will say, well, he was coming back from injury. Yeah, well, duh. If he comes back and plays the week after Philadelphia, he's coming back from injury. So he's going to be rusty then, especially knowing that he only had a little bit of training camp before he got hurt. And he's been off then for the last 6 weeks. Now, the way I look at it is we are blessed because most teams don't have a good starting quarterback, period. You got 2 guys that are fantastic. But if it's not broke, don't fix it. Right now, the Dallas Cowboy offense is number 2 in the NFL. We're scoring points. We're eating up the clock because we're leading in time of possession and length of drives, which is keeping our defense off the field. So why change up now for the sake of saying we owe Tony Romo? The best situation is you play Dak Prescott, you run with the hot hand. If he takes a step back, has some problems, then you bring in a Crowell quarterback to take over. Now, the interesting thing that I keep finding about Dak Prescott is how nobody believes in him. Now, he says he has the number 4 on his jersey for his mother, and that's probably true to a point. But I think he keeps that number 4 to remind everybody and himself that he was the a 4th round draft pick. And he's got a chip on his shoulder. And maybe the way people don't believe in him will keep that chip on his shoulder. Because after the Senior Bowl, I started looking at the film of him and looking at the numbers. And I'm seeing a guy that threw for over 9,000 yards over 3 years, who got better every year. He had 71 touchdown passes and 40 rushing. He didn't look to run, but he would if he needed to. And he won at a place that you don't win at. Mississippi State against the best teams in college football. Somebody from that conference every year is in the national championship conversation, if not the national champion. And he did not have a cast around him. It's not like he was throwing to a Des Bryant out there. Take a look at the people that were drafted on that team. It was him. That's it. He was the team. So enter him in training camp. He's a 4th round draft pick. He's a project. And as soon as Kelvin Moore went down, it was, we need a better quarterback. Dak's not ready. Even my boy TK kept saying, Dak's not ready. I said, hold on. I have seen what this guy can do in college. He will be fine. The best thing you can do is get him out on the field. Okay? Enter a couple of preseason games. Everybody kept saying, oh, well, it's only preseason. The teams aren't game planning against him, yada, yada, yada. But he was performing at a high level, higher than anybody else in the NFL. Okay, fine. It's preseason. Into the New York Giant game. Unfortunately, we lost. You can't blame that on Dak Prescott, because had Cole Beasley in that first half held on to that sure touchdown, instead of us having to settle for a field goal, we would have won that game. Had Des Bryant held on to that ball in the end zone, it would have been a touchdown instead of a field goal, and we would have won that game. Had T. Will gotten out of bounds, possibly we could have kicked a field goal and won that game. So, that game, okay, fine. Let's go to the Washington Redskin game. A game that we were behind in the fourth quarter. Calm, cool, and collected, he drove us down the field for a score to win. So he's already got a comeback victory in the fourth quarter. The Bears, well, the Bears were terrible. Go to the 49ers. 49ers come out gangbangers and 14-0. Boom, just like that. There's no panic. Calm, cool, collected. He runs that offense to a T and leads us to a victory. And in that time, he has yet to turn the ball over 0 times. But still, people say, oh, Dak Prescott, he's a good backup quarterback. He is doing more than most of the quarterbacks in the NFL right now. His time is right now to stay out there. This is now a young team. The only other person in that offense that's over 30 is Jason Witten. So what you have is the makings of a team that can do good for a long period of time. And you want to get that guy out there working with these guys as long as possible, because your windows are not that long. So let's say you bring Tony Romo back. Tony plays the rest of this year. We end up not making the playoffs, or make the playoffs in the first round. You go to next year and you play Tony Romo. He makes it through part of the season or whatever. That's time, valuable time, that you have with Dak Prescott that you can't get back. Because this team is going to be ready to fight for Super Bowls. Not just this year or next year. It's also the year after that and the year after that. Now again, what do I know? I'm a guy with a day job and a voodoo doll. So that's my thoughts on it. You can choose to like the page and subscribe, or just think I'm an idiot and keep blasting me. But either way, I'm good with it. Have a great day. I'm Mark Holmes. That's Cowboy Joe Boo.